Hello everyone, this is Sai, your host. Welcome to another talk video. Today we have with us a very radiating personality who is bridging gaps between education and financial sector, Mr. Tayal. Coming from a textile family background, he is a vice chairman of Panipat Institute of Engineering Technology. He is an economic graduate and a multinational financier and economist from Cardiff University. He is currently running two schools in Panipat and he's president elector of Rotary Panipat Central. He's also vice president of Haryana Self Financing Institutes. Welcome to the talk, sir.
Thank you.
Uh, so, world pandemic, the nation is facing the situation. Entire world is facing this situation. So, because of this world pandemic, economic crisis is generated, which would highly result in demanding into highly creative brains. And as we know, India is one of the homeland of creative people. What do you think this measure should be taken so that we can prevent this crime in our own country and it should be used for our own country's better?
See, unfortunately, lot many brains which are groomed in India, they happen to settle down in very developed nations like America and UK or European countries. Uh, because we didn't have that kind of the technical institution to support them for the research activities. And later on, the lot many there were very few companies who can be able to accommodate them, in the industry as such. But because of this pandemic, the people have become a little bit worried that even the best of the developed countries, they are not able to support their citizens well, in controlling this pandemic. So now these people are coming back to India, and more if you look into this kind of a prospect, that from the parent side, the parents who are willing to send their kids abroad for their, for their education, I guess they will be a little worried at this point of time to send them there. So now this is the opportunity for the government side and for all the technical institutions as well, and the industry also, to come and join hand together to build a total kind of an ecosystem wherein everyone can work in partnership, right? They can develop some good technical institutions, the course curriculum which is going to be at par with the world standards, and start working in the emerging technologies which will be very much adaptable to the industry 4.0, right? So we have to develop education system like 4.0 in respond to the industry 4.0. Then only we will be able to stop this brain drain happening from our country and start establishing the center of excellence in every field, so that a huge development can take place and we can make India of future.
Right, right. Absolutely, very well said. Uh, Seeing that India is also facing unemployment since ages, and because of this pandemic, we all know that we are going to face more such kind of unemployment. So, according to you, do you think our education system should inculcate uh, something which would create a self-employment or which would train our future generation to be self-employed and create employment for others also who are not educated?
See, the both, every concept is interrelated, I would say. Like when I said about education 4.0 or industry 4.0, and then this pandemic happened, you know and this has given more weightage to this kind of and stuff, like which advocates the need for incubation centers, startups, and the people start believing in more creativity and critical thinking rather than on rote learners, right?
Right.
So we have this kind of a problem of unemployment because the people don't innovate. They don't do any research, they just copy things, right?
Right.
And in this way you will not be able to create more jobs in times to come.
Hmm.
And at present also, the graduates who are coming from the universities and the colleges,
Hmm.
they are, pretty much not employed because they don't have any skill set. The companies are, reluctant to make them, offer them a job. You know, so in this way, but there is a lot of opportunity that exists in the market. If we take into consideration the kind of an development which has happened, or the innovations which are happening in India, we have the brains, then these brains goes outside because there is no such platform which can support them. So then this is the right time to wake up and start churning out the right curriculum which is in demand of the industry. And the industry should also collaborate with the industry. There should be industry academia partnership, you know
Right. Hmm.
so, and which can facilitate this culture of startup incubations.
Hmm.
And as Modi ji has rightly started up this kind of programs like Smart India Hackathon, and the
Hmm.
startup incubation centers,
Hmm.
and facilitating the Atal incubation centers and everything like that. So that is, these kind of measures in the right direction. And probably in times to come, the students coming out from these engineering colleges and things, they will be creating more jobs. They will be more job creators than the job seekers.
Right.
And that will take away the problem of job employment.
Hmm.
And probably you will find that lot many patents and the research would be coming, and from the India side. If you
Right.
look into the tables, like India is gaining importance in that kind of an format.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the companies who have the research companies and the companies who are known for innovations, they have set up certain centers in India. Earlier they were having only 5% of Indian population in that particular company. Now 90% of the people in their company are the Indian scientists or Indian engineers. So
Right.
which clearly shows that we are moving in the right direction. But lot is required at the regulatory and that level from the government side, if we
Hmm.
really want to make it happen. But I think we are moving in the right direction. But this particular jolt, which is like this pandemic, that has given us a kind of an to act fast. That
Right. Right.
that comes this had acted as an alarm bell, I would
Hmm.
say, that the
Hmm.
people have started realizing the importance of this technology, that we are not moving according to the need of the hour,
Hmm.
and we need to update. And whenever this kind of things happens, the society changes for the betterment. you know
Right.
and because you have more time to think, and you are away from the day to day routine work, then you
Hmm.
start thinking, and you spend your time more in critical thinking.
Hmm.
And this is a time which is required at the world level to think that where we are moving and how we can make ourselves a better place to live in. So
Exactly.
taking care of all these unemployment issues.
Right. So, as you said that we are moving towards this, and we are in process of moving towards technology. But since till date we have been giving formal education to student, and because of this entire pandemic, now that the formal education is paused in the students' life. So, do you think this formal education really affects an individual life?
See, the kind of education system where we are, you know, when the Britishers left India, India was there at Education 2.0, so which was more of a kind of an, mugging up the things, very standardized kind of an education. Every test is standardized. You have that kind of an examination system where you have to, vomit all the things which you have, mugged up during the whole year. And your capability is decided about how much you can memorize. But the thing is, in nowadays, like, you have access to information, you have access to computers and access to all that things which can memorize things better than you. Then why you are in competition to the machine which you have created yourself, right?
Right.
So now the main objective is you have to identify what all aspects are needed from a human being. Human being is characterized as like it is, yeah, these particular the god made creature which has that kind of a unique characteristics of emotions, sensitivity, creativity, critical thinking. These things a robot cannot learn through AI as well, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we need to focus on these kind of in areas, and we have to evolve our education on in this particular direction. So that would be a more kind of an, a blended education format, where you should have a mix of your formal kind of an education system which you are already having. So the schools and these kind of informal places where the students go and study themselves, go and study, that is gonna be a time of past now. I would say, like, not in very that uh, I would say that in a year or 2 or 5 years is not going to happen. But eventually it will take time for the proper evolution. But the thing is, the people will start working in this direction. First of all, you have to move from education 2 to education 3. So you have to move into the flip-based education. So
Right.
flip-based education is like you will start, disseminating the knowledge. So and the database and all the curriculum and system beforehand to the student, right? Through a LMS system, learning module system. So now these all learning module systems have cropped up in the market all of a sudden. Now everyone knows how to interact, on internet through a video conferencing, and how you can do some kind of an, one-to-one interaction or a group interaction, which was not known to the people, right, 2 months back. So this is how, the speed of information, you know has,
Mhm.
so it goes, with the boom,
Right.
so but uh, the difficult times makes the human beings adapt to the situation very fast, and this is what has happened. So now the formal education will take the shape of blended education system, wherein you will have these two important and integral part, weave together. That is your online and offline education and face-to-face communication, and then interaction in the classes. The students will go to the classes only to interact, not to attend to the boring lectures of the teachers, right?
Right.
So, and then you will have the slow learners and the fast learners. The slow learners would be requiring certain kind of an input from the teacher side and from other student side. But the self starters, they will be more concentrating on the things on research side, some center of excellences, and some areas where then they can produce some more input, and output to the society. The working in some kind of robotics labs, some makeup labs, some space labs, that is happening in the schools, nowadays. So you have more 3D labs there. You have, the incubators in the schools even, you know. So,
Right.
and the school kids are more creative than the adult ones,
Mhm.
So if you can give some, if you can relate their education system to the outer world, so the students can, be more productive, and then can bring solutions to lot many problems, which we see today.
Right.
And world will be with less problems if we start looking in this key area, that is equipping them with the right kind of knowledge, and giving them the freedom of like what to choose, and what to study, and from where to study,
Right.
right? And this is what this pandemic has given us, I would say a kind of an like a peep into the future. Yes, this kind of world also exists.
Right. Right. So talking about internet, as we are talking about right now, and because of this pandemic, now that students are getting more familiar with internet, and as you have stated in one of your previous interviews that education will make you more successful outside a controlled environment of a classroom. Is internet playing a role in self education, and is internet the key to success in future?
See, I also, said this particular point, but in different phrase. What I mean is, and I don't say that, the internet is the key for the other things. Definitely, it's a medium, right, through which the students can have access to a lot of information which is there worldwide. because this education 4.0 demands web as a curriculum. You know, when it is more about personalized learning rather than a class of 60 or 100 or 200, right?
Right.
So the only thing is, earlier when we used to study in our graduation days, we didn't have that kind of an luxury of internet at our place. So we got that luxury when I went to UK for my further postgraduate studies. That was a time when we had a first glimpse of internet, and our Gmail account and all that thing was established, and that give us a very wide look into the things, that how you can have access to information, to the newspapers, to all the research which has already been taken place. So now it's of the matter is more of a speed, right? So if you're not acting today, someone else has would have acted on that particular thing, because lot many brains they work alike, so
Right.
now the thing is, who do the things first? That is the key now. If you want to survive, you have to act fast, and to act fast, you need to know what other people have done. So you can use the knowledge of other people and start working from there. So you don't have to start from the scratch. So now the knowledge is not limited to the textbook which are given to you in the schools, right? It is more about kind of an things which are all available through internet. So okay, fine, because everyone become the co-learners instead of a teacher and a student. Teachers teaching the students, when the teachers would be learners, co-learners sitting next to you and learning what is happening, at the best of the best institutions. So this is how
So as we were talking about internet, what do you suggest? Is internet playing a key role in education? And since this pandemic, that students are facing this internet daily and trying to update themselves, what are your views with uh, internet being a key role in future for education system?
yes, in times to come, and this time in particular, right? When everything is in standstill, when you cannot have real face-to-face interaction. So internet has definitely played a very handy role, wherein like if you take into consideration this kind of like online platforms which are available in form of Microsoft Teams or Google Classrooms or even Zoom. you know so this has given a lot of kind of in things like through which the students and the teachers still they have some kind of an interaction. The other thing is like the availability of a lot of content on this internet, right? So which the students can access, so the accessibility of a lot many Wikipedias, and the kind of and some kind of and now everyone is coming up with this their e-contents, which is there available on websites, right?
Right.
So this is helping the students to explore, and give them kind of an access to any university resources, libraries, and all that stuff. So which was not there earlier, right? Now the world has become, their information, so from where they have to gather, and that is made possible only through internet. And it will continue to play a very integral part in the student's life. And earlier, the more emphasis was given on formal kind of an education where the teacher and the students interact, each other interact with each other only in the classrooms. Now this will happen more on internet as well. So you will have a blended form of education format, and where internet is gonna play more than 50% of the part, because it will help in interaction as well as research works, and getting information and retrieving information, right? So the only thing is the teacher's gonna guide them through, like which information is validated and what to read and what not to read, and don't waste your time in other activities. So just have to concentrate in the right ways, and to access the right information. That is the key.
Absolutely. So, talking about internet and technology, we all know that getting some technology involved in education requires financial support. And recently, the RBI governor Shashikant Dutt, he declared new policies for bringing up new money into market and putting it new money on whole education sector, industrial sector, construction sector. So, do you think that policy would also help our education system to improve and bring in all the technology that we are wanting to bring in?
See, whenever there is this kind of a distortion which happens, because money comes on rotation. So I'm from economic background, so I would say one thing. No such kind of this stimulus is going to revive the way the economy was running before.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever this kind of a distortion happened, so the major problems happen is how you're going to reallocate the money, how you will generate that kind of an confidence.
Right.
But one thing is very much clear, right? That we have not lost that many lives. It is only the financial loss which has happened, and we people are more determined. We are more focused one, and so that we can cope up with this kind of pressure. So, but the bigger dent has happened to the lower grade, the people who work on a daily basis. They didn't have that access to food even. So that is a major crisis which is happening in today's time. But I would say, like, what kind of like stimulus, like the kind of the money flow which has been given by the finance minister or by the RBI governor,
Mm-hmm.
right? This will act as an a very mild way, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because it's very difficult for any RBI governor or any even FBI's,
Mm-hmm.
so Federal Reserve Bank, even they could not stimulate the things in the right manner, because it's very difficult. Because which happens organically, it happens organically. When you want to stimulate it from the outside, the things don't work out that way. But let's see how far it's going to go. And but we have to focus in the right areas. So and the people will have to innovate, rather than expecting it from the government side that they can, they will be able to turn the tables around. So it will be the people who have to take this onus on themselves and start working in the right areas, in the right ways, how to innovate. Because we as in Indians, like we have always carried the things ourselves, rather than government controlled or the government maneuvered systems like it happens in China and in many other countries. So here the people are more flexible, they're more energetic, they're more hardworking. Let's see,
Right.
like if the government intervenes less, it would be better, I would say.
Perfect, perfect. So, lastly, sir, I would like to ask you what message you would give to the youth right now who is facing this pandemic, to all the students out there sitting at home. What message would you give them?
I would say, like, look at the brighter picture, every time. So don't get depressed, that if you're not allowed to go out and meet your friends and relatives. So explore yourself. You have a lot of capabilities, you have a lot of potential. So dig out all these things, and start inventing the things like which makes you happy. So like, your family is your the best companion. So spend some time with your family, which you have missed out in all these years, right? So many people, they dream of getting, that they will live a very peaceful life, retired life, after spending their 60 years or 65 lives. So the code has given you 2 months or 1.5 months of compulsory retirement before actual retirement. So, and because most of us, like, they are not physically capable to enjoy retirement. Now you are physically capable also to enjoy retirement. And what else, like, if you can enjoy with your family members, and if you're not allowed to go outside, you will be allowed to eat your home food. So just enjoy this precious moment, and start thinking critically. Utilize every single time, every single minute, So this time is not going to come back. That is there. So see, like, what are the good things which you should read, and the things we should explore. So don't miss out on your classes if it is online classes, if it is happening. So engage into some more webinars, look into some more online courses which are available. So a lot of internship is also being offered online.
Mhm.
So now the opportunities are enormous, right? You have to explore it, and every organization, they are coming up with different possibilities and opportunities. So just have a track of it. So divide your whole day in such a manner. Wake up early in the morning. Don't watch late night TVs and movies and things like that, and spend the whole day with gossips and chatting with your friends. Just you have to discipline yourself. And because a month or 2 months, I would say, like, the formal education, like, which we used to have, the classroom learning and things like that, I doubt it that it's going to be earlier than the starting of July. So because if everything goes well, then only I guess the government is going to allow the education sector to operate in the full flow. So, and we were the first one who were stopped from operation, and we would be the last one who will be allowed to start the operations. So please have patience, and believe in God. Stay at home, and don't go out. Observe every precaution which you could, and just stay happy, and make your family happy. So do home daily home chores, and extend your help to your family members too, right? So that you will learn how to make people happy when you are there at home. Otherwise, we always take them for granted.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, with this great message of Mr. Rakesh Tayal, that enjoy yourself during this time of difficulty and during this time of pandemic, I would like to thank you, sir, for sharing your views with us and guiding all the people out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's my pleasure.